Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to yet another episode of Master Visionary Coaching and how to go about living your life as the master visionary you were born as, not what we've become. And today I'm going to talk about the number one reason why people fail. And I'm also going to talk about the 3 must-know things in order to start setting yourself free from limitation, what we consider failure, which is a word we'll discuss, and how you can go about changing everything. Okay? So, why is it people fail? What is the number one reason? You probably have a lot of different reasons. You're like, well, I don't know enough. My lack of education, fill in the blank. There are so many reasons that people have that they use to justify and rationalize their lack of success. Now, success doesn't mean money necessarily. Success just means favorable or desired outcomes. Okay. Before I continue, though, what I want to do is welcome everybody who's watching over to mastervisionary.com and then click live at the top of the page. Then you'll be on the show. You'll be not on it, but you'll be with me here where you can ask your question. You can interact and participate, or just come hang out and enjoy the hour that we're going to spend, which will go by very, very quickly. And before we really jump into all this, go ahead and message your friends. Get them on this here call and let them learn what you're going to learn so you can start tapping back into this master visionary that you were born as. So what is it that's the number one reason? You know, we could come up with, like I said, lack of knowledge, lack of information. My education isn't as strong. Not as insightful or as intuitive as somebody else I know who's succeeding. And it goes on and on and on and on, but it's a bunch of BS, okay? That right there is the problem. And it's because of a negative mindset or attitude. Call it whatever you want. So let's look at the word attitude for a moment. And it's kind of silly, but I really love this explanation of the word, where if you take the numerical value of a letter, like A is 1 and B is 2 and C is 3 and so on, and you put hard work on a piece of paper and then put the numerical value, it's less than 100%. It's around 96 or 97. It's up in there. Do the same thing with knowledge. It's not 100%. It's only 96, 7, 8%, somewhere in there. I forget the exact number. But I do know that when you do that with the word attitude, it comes out to 100%. 100%. So attitude is everything, and attitude is your mindset. But what do we mean by mindset? Mindset is how you think, how you perceive, how you react. All of this stuff is part of your mindset, right? So we need to adjust whatever's going on internally. We need to adjust and shift our perceptions, but more importantly, our beliefs, okay? The number one thing that is one of the 3 things that we absolutely must address are your beliefs. Beliefs are not facts, but beliefs mold your life. Have you ever heard, whatsoever ye perceives and believes, ye achieves? So achievement is the outcome and the result of whatever you believe and however you perceive anything that's going on, including yourself and especially yourself. So people fail because of mindset, because they're not managing the thing that is the most important thing in all of your life and what's going on between your ears. So what happens is when we don't interact and manage, we don't learn ways and find the ways, the techniques, the skills, the strategies of how to be the better version of ourselves, how to tap into the master visionary within. We start accumulating and accumulating and accumulating what we call our past. So you see, right now, I want you to imagine that internally, you have the recordings of all of your life, and they're all there now. And if something hasn't been addressed, it's still there, and it could be wreaking havoc. So we're an accumulation of everything we've ever been. And the most important thing that we start to do is start releasing. We start letting go of beliefs and letting go of perceptions and letting go of all the bullshit that you believed and heard and were told and accepted and allowed. But let me share with you why it happens. Right now, rather than being the manager, rather than being the one who observes and participates and manages self, what happens is you wake up and step right into the routines. So we're creatures of habit. We've heard this, right? Well, we not only have behavioral habits, but we have emotional reaction habits. We have thought processing habits. We have thought pattern habits. So here's what I mean by that. There's a conversation and you say something and somebody says, you say that every time this comes up. You say, no, I don't. And everyone else goes, yeah, you do. Or something happens and you emotionally react the same way because we're creatures of habit. Call it routine, call it repetition, call it whatever you want to call it. However, we can change them. We've had many habits in our lives, but once a habit wasn't needed, like baby diapers or pacifiers or whatever it may be, we let go of it. So the first part is we need to start addressing what's going on and start releasing what blocks us and gets in the way. And I have found that this is the key in most of life. It's not often learning something new. It's usually releasing what's blocking you, releasing what's in your way. And again, that comes back to beliefs. So where do our beliefs come from? Where do they come from? They come from other people, and they also come from a self that was too young and too inexperienced in order to perceive things more accurately or truthfully with awareness and insight. So here we have a younger version of us who knows nothing, accepting whatever they're being told, and then letting that become your belief system. But is it really your belief? So where do we first hear all this? From our parents, from family, right? Now, I'm sure your parents were lovely. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were horrible. But even if they were successful and they had healthy, wonderful, charmed lives, maybe that's not what you're supposed to do. Probably not, right? Just because someone else had something work well for them doesn't mean it's going to work well for you. But if you believe that's what you're supposed to do, then that's what your mind will accept. And it will work from that foundation, from that approach. Now, the other part of this, I'm getting a message, so I just got distracted. So the other part of this is that we want to question our beliefs, okay? So let's say it doesn't matter where they came from. Let's say you were just so inundated with so many different perspectives and different people's ideas and opinions, and it's just all in there. Who cares where it came from? We don't care about where it came from or why. We just care about what now. So what now? What are we going to do with it now? Well, question your beliefs. You know, I was explaining this to my mom, Jesus, a few days ago. I was on a phone call with her. And I said, you know what people stopped doing, it seems, which was great during the late 60s and 70s, when all of a sudden there was this common attitude of question what you're told. Don't just listen to everything you're told and say, well, that's how it's supposed to be done. Who said? Who said so? Well, they. Who the frig are they? Well, my mom, my dad. I'm sure they're lovely people, but they're knuckleheads too. And that's the way I say it. We're all incredible, talented, skilled, master visionary knuckleheads. We are master visionaries at the core, but as humans, we're knuckleheads. So we're all coming from the same place. We're all coming from a place of not knowing. We're all coming from a place of wanting to know. We're all coming from a place of perceptions that aren't even facts and beliefs that were placed upon us. So what we want to do is we want to question our beliefs. And let me share one with you. I would sit and I would meditate on these beliefs that I had. And one of them that was very strong in my life, being brought up very blue collar, Goodwill Hunting, like, triple deckers, as they call them in the Boston area, real low income, but hard work, hard work. My old man would tell me, a good day's work gets you a good day's pay. Okay, fair enough. But because I believed that, I worked hard my life. When I had opportunities to explode my career, because I didn't know systems and I didn't have different beliefs, I thought you just keep working, keep working, keep working. Well, that got me 105 hours a week, 15 one-hour sessions a day with clients, 7 days a week. Not fun, not how to scale up, not how to succeed, not at all. It was just a really, really grueling job that I enjoyed. Okay, because I believed if you work hard for it, you earned it. And then I thought about, well, what about people with real estate who rent apartments? They don't work hard at all. They even outsource all the management work and they outsource all the remodeling and repair work. And they make phone calls or press buttons on a computer and they're profiting greatly. So I take the word work and I change it to application. And here's how I get rid of my beliefs. Wherever that belief came from, I imagine putting it in a box, putting a bow on the top, cover it up, and I put it back on the doorstep of where I got it. So I told my folks once, do you have any beliefs I've put back on your doorstep? And in my meditation, my visualization, I walk away and I say, thank you, but that's not mine, and I won't accept it any longer. And I leave without it. The technique works, okay? So we must question our beliefs in order to start cleaning up our mindset, our attitude, in order to thrive and rather than survive. So this is the most important part to begin with. To get our mindset correct, to get that attitude correct, to start feeling lighter because of all the emotional heaviness that you're carrying and all the emotional weight and all the blockage that's going on. We question our beliefs and then start releasing them. Okay. Now, a lot of beliefs change because of advancement, like in technology. There was a time I used to believe I better go get some posters made at the printer to promote a speaking engagement, but that doesn't exist anymore. So sometimes beliefs check themselves, but I'm talking about the beliefs at your core. Here's another belief about people that really, really is something, especially in the holistic world or in the marketing world, where people are, I'll say naturally, meaning you have a thought and a feeling that I've got something to promote, I have something to come out with, I have something to share with people, but you don't believe you're worthy and deserving of being the expert and getting compensated for it. So what I'd like everyone to do is I want you to just comment, and it's best to come over to mastervisionary.com and click the live button and do it here. What belief would you put on the doorstep of your parents or a teacher or some guide that you've had in your life? What do you feel is maybe the number one belief that's holding you back, that you know better, but yet it continues to get in the way? So go ahead and comment on that and I'll make some comments for you. So when we address the beliefs, when we question them, the question is that my belief? Do I truly believe that? Immediately you'll have your answer. It doesn't take a long time for these answers to come up. And these answers come up in the way of a feeling. You'll just know. You're like, no, I don't believe that. There's your answer. Release it. Give it back. Maybe you put all these beliefs that aren't yours into a hot air balloon. And when they're all in there, cut the ropes and watch this thing go away. Anything visually, that is you releasing, sending away, destroying, whatever, returning, any of that stuff, okay? So question beliefs, and then we release them. But we're going to replace them with something that's already been there. So it can feel new, but it's what you always knew, especially when you were new. Meaning, worthy and deserving. I don't know. I have a belief at the core here that I'm becoming aware of that I don't know if I deserve, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 a month in my services. I don't know if I'm really worthy of it. I haven't done anything. All I did was wrote a report and people bought it and I made $4,000 just on a 3-page report. Okay. Why are you deciding? You see, the way to remember who you really are is to reflect back to that child. So I want you to think about that little boy or little girl. You. Why are you telling that little boy or little girl they're not worth it? Why are you limiting them? Why are you holding them back? Doesn't that little boy or girl deserve a wonderful life? Deserve happiness and health and joy and to be a living example of what life can be? Of course. So think about the little boy or little girl of who you really are. So I like to just say we're just bigger, dopier versions of ourselves. The child says, I can do that. I want some. Where's mine? That's natural. So we're not naturally functioning anymore. We're limiting ourselves completely. So worthy and deserving is because you were born. You were born worthy and deserving. End of story. Now you can enhance that by how you apply yourself. So imagine the people who deserve to be healthy, as I get myself uncomfortable here. So there are people who deserve to be more healthy, right? That's everybody. But the person who chooses to eat properly, the person who chooses to exercise, the person who chooses to say no to certain things probably deserves it more. They're a little more worthy, right? Because of their actions. But know that you start out worthy and the value will already be dictated by your audience. So if you put out a 3-page report and you priced it for $4,000 and somebody said it was worth it, then it's worth it. If you priced it for $27 and somebody paid and said it was worth it, then it was worth it. So the audience, as we know in marketing, always dictates the value. Well, this happens in life too. If what you are doing is valuable, you'll know because people will want it. But now, if what you have isn't working, shift and adjust. So this goes back to the very beginning, failure. Why most people fail, the number one reason why. But let's look at the word failure. Never mind the reason right now, but the word itself, okay? So failure is in doing nothing. So when people say I have a fear of failure and they're not doing anything, I tell them that they're a walking contradiction because the truth is they love it completely. They love failing. You're like, no, I don't. Well, you must, because failure is in doing nothing. If you're doing something, you're not failing, you're learning, you're advancing, you're progressing. It's trial and error, which is what all of life is. So you see, this is one of the biggest BS games people play in their own mindset within their own selves is that, well, I'm not going to do anything because I could fail. And then what's one of the reasons there? Why not do anything? Because it might not work out. Well, because what other people are going to think. Welcome to number 2 of the 3 things we need to address. And that's about what other people think and have to say. Now, the way to manage what other people say, what their opinions are and all that, is you allow yourself, my glasses always are off. Look at this. You allow yourself to hear whatever they have to say and to filter it as to whether or not it's good for you. That's it. So if somebody said to me, you might want to, and they say whatever, I'm like, oh, thanks. In my head, I could think, oh my God, never. Or, well, that was pretty interesting. So it doesn't matter what people tell you. You filter it, you process it, and you use it however you want to. But I'm talking about when people have opinions and comments. There's a very powerful technical therapeutic tool, F them. Now that might stand for forget them. But seriously, who cares? And let me share something with you about people who talk. You're not doing well. The people around you are observing and they're like, Jesus, do you believe this? And the people who talk are going to go, I know, right? Boy, you think they do something about themselves. And then you do. And then when you're crushing it, those same people say, oh, look, she thinks she's something now. What? I thought you were commenting because I wasn't doing anything. Now I'm doing it. Now you're commenting negatively again. People who talk are going to talk no matter what. So forget them. F them. And the people who don't talk aren't going to talk either way. So the people who don't talk, who don't comment and have opinions on what you're doing because they are secure in themselves, they're not insecure. They say, well, what? It's none of your business. Who cares what she's doing or he's doing? And then when you do really well, they're like, well, good for them. Because they know you have nothing to do with them and they have nothing to do with you. You're just choosing to interact along the way. So forget them all. And are those people helping you? Are those people doing anything other than commenting and making you feel bad? Though nobody can make you feel anything. That's you reacting back to that reactionary habit, you see? That's why we need to address this stuff. So here we are, listening to other people who don't know better, because nobody knows what's best for you, unless you were a child and your parent knows it's best not to jump off of that. But nobody knows better than you. And here's how you know. We'll call it a gut feeling, first thought, intuitiveness. And I have yet to meet anyone who said, oh, no, it's a good thing I didn't go with my gut feeling. Everyone always regrets it. That is how you follow. That is what you follow. You get a feeling about something and it's what's right for you or not, no matter what anyone else says. So I've had very intelligent people share some ideas with me about some things I could do in my practice, in my business, my coaching, and my hypnotherapy work. Great ideas, but obviously wasn't meant for me because I didn't get any kind of reaction to it in an intuitive gut feeling way where it felt right. So it feels right or it doesn't. You see, now this is the biggest problem that most people have. It's shifting out of the, I have to figure it out. I have to analyze it. I have to calculate. Well, this is what we call getting in your own way. And that is I, all these I's, right? No, I'm talking about following the thing that breathes you, following the thing that creates new cells in your body, following that thing that knows more than you'll ever know and has everything laid out for you. But that takes one of three words, now I mean the same: belief, trust, or faith. You call it whatever you want. Maybe it's living on Faith Road for 17 years. I upped my faith game. But all I know is when I didn't follow that gut feeling, that passing thought, there was regret a lot of times. So now, not knowing where it's going to lead me, I follow it and it always works out. Always. And this is one of the things I share with all my clients, is to learn how to get back into that. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about the third thing, and also more about what we do with these three things that we must know in order to start to change. We're going to jump to a quick commercial. And meanwhile, come on, comment as to what belief you really know you need to let go of. You just haven't learned how. And we'll be back in a minute.
Are you a CEO or an executive suffering from unbearable stress? Do you feel like you're burning out and your leadership skills are suffering? There's good news. You're only 12 weeks away from turning it all around. The Master Visionary Coaching Program gives you all the resources to do so with less effort than it takes to load your groceries into your car. The Master Visionary Coaching Program is by application only. Apply now at mastervisionary.com.
All right. Well, welcome back. And yes, From Stress to Success is the program that is setting people free. You see, we're all held hostage. We're held hostage by everything I'm sharing called your past. What's going on between our ears is what's running the show. What's going on between our ears at a level that we're not even consciously aware of is what's causing problems or propelling us. So the first part was beliefs, okay? To avoid what we call failure, to stop missing out on goals and achievements and successful outcomes, and to live life explosively expressed. You know, life is about experience. We're here to experience as much as possible, but too many times people get caught up in a routine that is a grind, and then you die. And the worst thing you'll die with is regret. So make the choices in the moment to avoid future regret. Follow the gut feeling. So we must question our beliefs. And when we question those beliefs, when we become aware that that's not truly our belief, like I say to people when they tell me about stuff, I say, well, right now, if you were told that right now for the first time, would you believe that? You're like, well, no. Why are you living with that? Why is your life based on that then? I don't know. Exactly. So we need to check these beliefs. We need to release them. And there are techniques that are very simple and comfortable and easy to do. And I've already shared a couple. They're visualization techniques. And then there's deeper work that we do where we really address a belief, where it came from, reframe it, and all of that. And again, come on, let me know whatever belief you know is holding you back, and I'll share something with you. And then the other part was what other people have to say, because this is how you manage your mindset, your attitude, and all of that is what's leading to either failure or success. Okay. So here we are sitting with all these opinions, all these comments. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I even listen? Why do we even care? Oh, you see, why we listen is because we care. All right, Amy just sent a message here. I keep getting frustrated over technology, fighting internally that I can't get it, and then trying again, still frustrated though. So, Amy, let me address this with you, okay? And if we can get Amy on live and she can participate and talk with me, that'd be great too. And I'm just talking to the producer. So, well, anything like this, right? When we go to learn anything, the problem here is what I'm reading is a belief when you had written fighting internally that I can't get it and then trying again. So there's already a belief I can't do this, where the belief to shift it would be, I can learn anything. I just need to start at the beginning and learn what the steps are. Now, the way I learn anything based on technology or technical is I go to YouTube and I watch a 10-year-old show me. And I'm not joking, because these kids are crushing it with technology. They're born into it. So we go to YouTube or online somewhere, but YouTube is my go-to to learn almost anything. And you get to find out a step procedure. So for instance, I have clients who can't download my MP3 audio sessions to a phone. And they'll go start the video and then step one and get their phone and just follow it, step procedure. Another part though, now I'm talking basic technology, right, Amy? But another part is when we have technology like this,
Hey,
I don't run this.
I'll talk to
There's
you
a
in a minute.
producer running it. So
Sorry.
Amy, look how good Amy is. She's getting rid of a call just so she can be on this call. That's awesome. Thanks, Amy. So is it technology that is simple, or is it technology that's complex that you're having a hard time figuring out?
It's like new technology. So I'm trying to learn new systems and new ways to do things
Okay.
in order to start what my passion is.
What is your passion, by the way?
I want to work with pastors' wives.
Okay.
I want to create a community for them where they can come in and fellowship and be known.
Yeah.
Often they are very isolated, and so I want to bring them together.
Okay, that's great. It's a really good cause. Now, what technological services are you having difficulty with in order to do that?
Email, figure out how to put all the processes together. It's not like you just type an email and send it out. Now you're trying to figure out how to take those people who maybe didn't get into your first webinar, and you're trying to put them back up into the process and move them through it again. And you do all the steps and you go, yeah, I got it. And then they're just stuck and they're not going anywhere, and trying to stream like you're doing right now. So I'm watching you in Zoom, but you're also streaming it through some other
Facebook,
way.
YouTube, yeah, all over the place, right? Okay.
Right.
Well, if this was all on me, it wouldn't be happening.
Right.
So we get to a point, especially when we're using business, right? And there are systems, there are platforms, there are technological advancements for sure. Like I tell people now, when I started my career, there was no Google and YouTube and none of this stuff. And, emails, it was just wild, wild west out there. Nowadays, if you're not succeeding, most people are either lazy or they don't have any resources whatsoever in order to outsource. So there are things we can learn, things we can do. And yet it gets to a point after a while, like self-help, let's say. We can get a book and read it. We can get a meditation audio and a self-hypnosis audio and use it. We can do X amount of work on our own. But then we get to a point, though, where we need some assistance because it's beyond us, right? Same thing with technology. There's a lot I do on my own, but then there's a lot where if it's just all up to me, it's not going to get done because it's now too much or too advanced or too whatever. And either one, I don't know it or I don't want to learn it because I'd rather outsource it. Because the thing is, you want to spend most of your time on your passion, not on the logistics. And this is where entrepreneurs get stuck, right? So as an entrepreneur, we have all these hats, but the thing I learned most, because I know 20-hour days. I mean, I did 20-hour days for almost 2 years, being awake 20-hour days. And I got to a point where I just realized I can't do it all. Like I can't do it all. So sometimes what we do is we find simpler ways to go about what we're doing. But the thing I want to address is that belief. So do me a favor, just close your eyelids for a moment, because I want you to picture something. I want you to imagine something, okay? And using your imagination is natural and automatic for you. It's what you've been doing your whole life. It's not something you've had to learn to do. But I want you to imagine if you knew what to do with your email sequence and what you shared with me, what would that be? Just imagine what it would be that you might do with that email sequencing in order to get the message out to these people so they can watch your information. And what do you think you would do? Whatever you shows up, because you're an observer now. You're not figuring it out because you can't. But just observe as that part that breathes you when you just simply ask, what would I do or how would I go about this email sequencing in order to get more of these pastors' wives over to my information? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And what's happening?
I'd be able to just set it all up and it'd be all taken care of.
Okay, so now when that part tells you you'd be able to just set it all up, what is that setting up process? Set up what?
I would know all the steps to go, or it would make sense in my head so that I could process.
Mm-hmm.
If I do step A, then step B automatically happens to get result C.
Right. And where do you
You know,
find these step procedures?
what am I what?
Where do you find such a step procedure in order to manage an email campaign to a group?
I tried to watch some videos and stuff, but there's so many like little tiny parts to the
Mhm.
process.
Okay.
They show you some things, but then you're still left dangling trying to figure out the exact path you want to go.
And what path do you want to go?
I want it to work the way I want it to work.
And how is that?
I want it to take the people who didn't um, respond the first time or didn't open everything.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to go back up just under the first email, like that said hello and thank you or whatever. And then I want them to come down through the second side of it and process through, saying they get a second chance and come back up and go through the process again, getting an
So
email
would
the
that
day
be like
before,
an
getting
email
an email an hour
reminder? They
before.
didn't click on the link for the webinar, and then they got a second, third follow-up maybe, and they had the chance to see that email 3 or 4 times in order to click the link to go to that content?
Right.
Okay. And can you write follow-up emails and sequence them, timestamp them, as they say?
That's what I'm having an issue.
Okay.
I mean, I've got them back up where they should come through, but there's something that's blocking them, and for some reason, whatever I've told them to do, it's just not following through that I can see. Everybody went back to the very first email
Yeah.
and got that again, which they shouldn't have.
Okay. So in this case, it's just finding somebody who can shed some light on it, look at it, and you can open your eyelids if you'd like. Some things we're blocking completely because we just don't believe. But what you're doing is you're proving that you're applying yourself. You're believing it can be done. You just haven't found the way, right? So the thought should be, I would suggest, would be better rather than, I can't figure this out. I keep learning more and more, and I'm just about to find out what that thing is I'm missing. But also reach out. You know what I mean? I mean, this people like myself, we're helping people with all kinds of things, and some of us have some technical savvy. We can help in the basics of it all. As a matter of fact, Jesus, I don't know what time. Let's see. How about I help you out with that? I just got to figure out a time here. Hold on. We'll do this like soon.
Okay.
Okay. When we're done, when this show's over, which will be at 1, I want you to email me at tomnicoli@gmail.com. I'm going to send you a Zoom link, and I'm going to spend 10 minutes with you to fix this.
Okay. Thank you.
All right? You're welcome. So what we just learned here was that sometimes what we have as a belief is more of a reaction to an outcome. So of course, Amy's believing, well, I don't know how to do this because there's been evidence or proof that as I go about it, I still can't figure it out. All that means is I just haven't found that thing yet. I keep applying myself. I keep moving forward, and that thing will show up, whatever it is. And then when you realize what it is, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that was it. It's just unbelievable how it works. But then we get to a point where some things aren't belief based. They're just, we don't have enough information. We're not experienced enough. We're not that person. So we outsource, especially in something like this in technology. But the belief part of this was, I can't do it. Instead, of course I can. I just haven't found that missing piece. See the difference when you think this way, even? Once you let that thought pass of, I just haven't found the way to do it, then all of a sudden, it all changes. Now, anyone else who's having a situation like Amy where they're stuck, message me, tomnicoli@gmail.com, and I'll jump on a call 10 minutes, just 10 minutes to address whatever it is that you're unable to release on your own, just to give you some insight as to how to get this thing started. That's the best offer I can make anybody right now. So we got to go to now part 3. Okay, open my notes to remind myself that what I thought was there is what's there. 1, question your beliefs and start releasing them. 2, Never mind what people are saying. Remember, people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter, they don't mind. We hear all these phrases for reasons. Here's the third part, and this is the most important part for your whole life. People live condition-based. What do I mean by this? People live based on the conditions outside of them that are secondary in life. Once you learn to flip the script on this and start living from the inside out, then your outside changes. So it's creating the conditions in order to receive them, to experience them, to have them, say, manifest or become real. Life's an inside job. And I love the phrase Jack Nicklaus, the great golfer, used to say, golf's a game of inches, and the most important 7 are between your ears. Well, that's life, okay? So life is a game of inches moving forward in whatever increments. The most important 7 inches in life are between your ears. Until what's going on in here is managed, what's going on out here won't matter. So we need to learn these techniques and processes that are timeless and natural and require no heavy lifting whatsoever, and just consistently apply what creates outcome in life. And it starts with thought and feeling. Now, the big part here that people leave out is feeling. Everyone thinks. So let's look at the thought process. The first thing we must do when we deal with the third part of these 3 must-know strategies, techniques, or whatever we want to call them, in order to stop failing and start succeeding, is we need to start managing our own language. And that language begins in that voice you hear that sounds like yours. The first tip is to remove don't language, folks. Wow. Think of it. I have a client come in and I'll say, so what would you like? Well, I don't want to be unhealthy, and I don't want to be fat, and I don't want to keep eating like this. And they keep telling me. I go, okay, great. Now tell me what you want. I just told you. No, you didn't. Watch how this works. Let's say I don't want to keep eating so much sugar. The last part of the sentence, which the mind retains, is keep eating so much sugar. Because the don't word doesn't work. You ready? Folks, don't. Do not, let me make this clear. Don't think of a giraffe. Right? Giraffe. So imagine when a parent goes, don't step in a puddle. The kid steps in a puddle, and the parent loses their mind saying, didn't you just hear me tell them not to step in that puddle? Yeah, well, that was shitty parenting. Well, maybe not shitty parenting, but your language was pretty weak. It should have been, walk around that puddle and stay dry. You see, when I said those words, that's the picture that the mind brought up. And the mind can only follow what it sees. Whatever you show it, and you're showing it pictures based on the words you're using. Because everything we hear or say or read will be turned into images. Pictures worth 1,000 words. So it isn't all the words you're using. It's saying words that are concise and say what you mean. Most people talk and talk and talk and talk, and what do? Well, you know what I mean. No, I don't. I think I might, but maybe I don't. So the idea here is we must speak in do language. What do you want? What do you feel? What do you expect? What do you desire? And then paint that picture as clear, as crisp, and as detailed as you can. And then things start to shift and change. And if you don't think that's true, think about your present situation. Now, think about all the thoughts you have regularly. I'll bet you the thoughts you have regularly are equal to your outcome. And not because the outcome created those thoughts, because your thoughts created your outcome. So we must start learning how to live from the inside out, not the outside in. Everything outside of you is already established. It's already done. And everything outside of us had to have been a thought once before it could have been created or manufactured or sold or purchased. So when we learn the ways to manage the way we think and feel, when we learn to manage those beliefs and we learn how to release them, when we learn how to reconnect to the inner child, to the master visionary, to the confident one, to the one who spoke up, to the one who didn't care what other people thought. So you're not my friend anymore. Try doing that as an adult. What a shitstorm happens inside your head. Yeah, I said that because it just explodes into craziness. You're not my friend anymore. Child just walks away. The adult says, oh, geez, what are people going to say? And oh, now I got to explain it to them. And no, you don't. This is the problem. Another way to start managing what's inside, well, not another way, but one of the ways to start doing this, that's part of it all, is you become the manager by becoming the observer. You see, when you start to think, and you think you're thinking as yourself, you're thinking as an accumulation of everything and everything else that everyone else said and that your younger selves thought. So when you react a certain way and you allow yourself to continue with that reaction, that's a younger version of you running the show. Instead, as the adult and as the wiser, experienced, insightful, more aware, more honest part of self, you observe and you go, why did I react like that? What the hell is that all about? Where does that come from? And then flip the script. So the phrase I like to use a lot is, you don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. So what I mean by that is you fall in the water when you get angry. You fall in the water when you get frustrated. You fall in the water when you snap at yourself. Staying there is the problem. So will we get frustrated sometimes? Yeah. We maybe get a little angry sometimes, maybe. Disappointed? Sure. But it's realizing, well, that's not going to help me. So whenever something comes up, be more playful about it and be the observer as you participate in your life and manage things. And realize that anything that comes up that holds you back was formed by a younger version of you. And you know better. So you let them know, thank you. Thank you for reminding me this is how you feel. Thank you for reminding me that's in there. I'll address it now. And there are ways. There are ways to address every behavior you have, every habit you have, thought processes, emotional reaction patterns, all of it. And it's easier than you would imagine. And that's a big part of it. It's ways of using what we call imagination, thought, imagery, vision, based on what Einstein talked about. When you change the way you look at something, what you look at changes, and that means you, your life, your projects, your business, your behaviors, whatever. So failure isn't doing nothing. Failure is not happening when you're in action. Trial and error, progress, development, learning. That's when things are in action and they're just not working out yet. So when Amy talked about still not figuring out this email sequencing, that's not a failure. She obviously is closer than she once was. So application keeps you getting closer and closer and closer to whatever it will be. You'll exhaust all the ways not to do things, and you'll find the way to do things. So failure is when we do nothing, absolute failure. Anything else is progress, growth, development. Mindset must change. The attitude and the mindset of the individual must change in order to start shifting out of this. And to do that, the three things we want to apply immediately is check your beliefs and question them. Where'd they come from? Maybe they worked for you once. Maybe they're not good anymore. Maybe it never worked for you. Maybe you just weren't that person. You know, I'm the oldest of four, and I was taught from a guy who was very, very tough to be that way. He used to say things like, pick up a brick and smash him in the head. I don't think so. That's not in me. I'm not that violent. So even though this is what I was taught, and they started to become beliefs of how you go about things, like that's not for me. I even knew that then. So look at your beliefs. Are they for you? If not, release them. And there are ways to do that too. Second, never mind what people are saying. Who gives a crap about their opinions? Who cares about what they think you should be doing? Plus, all that you should, don't should all over yourself. All you know is, yeah, that's not for me. And learn how to dismiss people very easily, quickly, and nicely. And just shut them down. Don't allow them to steamroll you. And then when people say you're being selfish, here's something else that happens too. I forgot about this part. So people say, you're being pretty selfish. Why? Well, all you do is stay home and learn different ways to run your business and how to scale up. And you keep going to do things you like. You weren't available the other day to go to lunch with us because you went for a massage. Like, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. So I'm selfish. But if I do what you want me to do, then I'm not selfish? Correct. Well, then who is selfish here? So learn to be self first, which is not being selfish. Live self first. Oxygen mask falls, you put yours on first, even if you're with children on a plane. You can't be charitable or donate or help people out if you're broke all the time. So you can pay you first. So it's self first, not selfish. And this is how you get around what other people are thinking and saying, because you're going back to the way it was originally meant to be. And then you learn how to start managing what's going on between your ears and the way you think, the way you talk to yourself, removing don't language, being more positively influenced. And rather than jumping in every morning, realize I wake up with everything that's been, and I get to manage it by observing it and then deciding what to do with it, how I feel, what I say, the habits I have. And you watch your life will change dramatically, incredibly. So I've only got a few minutes left here. If there's anything that you want to ask me right now, go ahead and comment. Go ahead and write it. Also, if there's some help you need with a belief that's blocking you, email tomnicoli@gmail.com. We'll jump on a 10-minute call. I'll help you get through it and at least initiate moving forward in a way to release whatever's blocking you in order to get started maybe in a clearer path. So what are some of the tools we use to manage inside? Well, first, honesty. I said you're going to manage this thing, and I got a few minutes left, which I didn't think I'd have, so let's throw some more information out. I love it. Honesty. You're going to be honest with yourself. Am I out of shape? Am I my best version of me? Could I be better? Be honest. That's all. Just be honest. Once you're honest, you can become aware. And when you're aware of what's going on, then you can start addressing it. So we use visualization. We use meditation. And we use other techniques that are very, very simple to apply. But when they're learned properly and they're applied properly, you start to shift what's going on. The one word that covers it all is energetically, emotionally, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you're responding. We start to shift our energetic self in order to now get more from the energy we are and have. So all the negativity, I tell people, that's like putting holes in your boat. Why are you doing that to yourself? Why would you ever say, I'm my own worst critic? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Yeah, I said that. It is. I'm my own worst critic. Why? Isn't the world already doing that to you? How about I'm my own best supporter? Nobody supports me as well as I. Nobody loves me as much as I. Nobody will do for me as much as I will. Because I'm worth it. Because I'm from the source of greatness. I'm from the source of greatness. Therefore, there's greatness within me. And the odds that we were all born is 400 trillion to 1. And you want to complain about your life? I'm so grateful. I'm so privileged to be here in this physical form. And I love enjoying working out whatever's going on in here and laughing at the things I believed and laughing at the things that I thought mattered. And wow, boy, we can be silly, can't we? So that's how I go about it. Laugh at it. Realize, well, that's not helping me. What the hell am I doing? And then learn ways. Now, some ways you can learn on your own. Yes. But why do people like I exist? Or me, if that's the proper pronoun. So we exist because the same reason why a tech person exists when Amy's having difficulty email sequencing, that they know that information and that we contact these people who can help us do things much better, much quicker, with much bigger and better results than we could on our own. And maybe we couldn't even on our own, because we get to a certain point all on our own, like say remodeling. And this is a good example. You remodel your home, maybe you paint the walls, fill in some holes. But I don't know if you're able to take wallboard down to the studs and then redo the wall. So we get to a certain point where we can't do all of it, so we outsource. Well, that's what I'm here for. Tap back into the master visionary you were born as. It isn't how you start anything in life, especially your life, but it's how we finish. So you can start horribly. You can start the race behind everybody, but you can finish strong and win. So how do you want to finish? And when it comes to that waiting thing, and this happens always around this time of the year, we're going to wait till the new year. Well, that's dopey too. It's just another day. You start now and you get some momentum. When the new year comes, you'll already be ahead of the game. So anyway, I'm Tom Nicoli. Well, that's not true. My name is Tom Nicoli. I'm your master visionary coach. And together we can work this out. Just contact me. I only bring on 6 new people a month, folks. That's it. Just 6 new people a month, one-on-one. There's a group option, but you want to work with me one-on-one and really, really get the fire lit that will turn into a blaze? Let's do that. But meanwhile, just go ahead and start outsourcing, start looking, start reaching, start asking questions to yourself, and stop listening to other people, what they think is right, what their opinions are. Tap into that feeling, that gut feeling, that instinctive guide, and just watch how things unfold as you lighten up a little bit. Because the biggest weight you carry is emotional. But start lightening it up. And anyone who's looking for a little help, just message me over at tomnicoli@gmail.com. And we'll see what we can get started. Meanwhile, I wish you all the best. And send your folks, your friends and your family and everybody else over to mastervisionary.com, and they can click replay and watch the replays of all the episodes that we've done. But for now, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to wish you all the best, and realize this is not a dress rehearsal. This is your life. You're going to play at this, or you're going to do it for real. Let's live explosively expressed and no longer in the misery of limitations. So I wish you well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the Master Visionary Show. Join us every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to remove the blocks that are keeping you from living a healthy, wealthy, and happy life.